And we're back. And I mean, we're back as in I'm back and you're back, maybe. Davio's not with me today. We'll see how the next few days go, and maybe we'll delve into that more, depending. But I'm gonna try and keep the same formula that me and him were doing together, and just picking right back up where we left. So the last one we were again coming to terms on things, and Davio was bringing some studies and instances to the table that uh he felt were pretty solid evidence to talk about past lives and like life between lives, um things that happen when people, yeah, are having out of body experiences, near death experiences. And he's delved into those areas quite a bit. He, he was having me observe some of the evidence out there. Um, and I did, and I have, and I was telling him I continued to look at whatever, but I still had some like, hard thoughts on it all. And I was coming across strong, I guess, with my feelings towards it all. And maybe it, was condescending or, yeah, coming across like I wasn't giving credence to the evidences he was bringing to the table. And I don't know, there's a lot to chalk it up to. There's a little bit of miscommunication too, because like the stuff he was bringing to the table is super interesting. And I was trying to say that. I was trying to say that, in spite of my worldview, that the world's just fine, and I'm not, overly concerned about the afterlife stuff or the between life or the past lives. I've come to see why you could just value the present, and there's good reason to. The nature of a rabbit hole, such as what's going on with our past lives or reincarnation or that kind of thing, is, it can be overwhelming for certain types of people. Um, it's simply not for everyone. So I guess I find myself in this business of having some conversations about obscure subjects like that because I have this worldview that everything's fine. The world's just fine. How it's going exactly how it was supposed to, how it is supposed to. And basically, I'm trying to say I'm not on board with any of these ideas like the world has fallen, the world is, hijacked, something's wrong here, and we're trying to figure it out. I find those to be ideas that have always been there in different areas, schools of thought, religion, etc. And like you could always think that way is basically my point. That's always an option here on Earth. Therefore Earth is working just fine, how it's supposed to work. It's quite a bit to wade through here. Recently, I was saying it's, a world of illusions made for you to find your way in it. Um, so because I'm quick to dismiss things that are negative as far as trying to suggest how this world works and what's happening for us. I guess, that's not cool with everyone, especially the people that I've surrounded myself with over the last 7 years or so. Because I myself was suggesting pretty, in a very strong fashion, like there's all this stuff that's wrong and should be addressed. We got to take a look at it. And it's been an interesting path I've been on, and there's so many things that I've said that I would continue to say, and I will continue to say. There are things, quote unquote, wrong, things that could be improved. It's very, very complicated times to make it make sense for everyone, that's an impossibility. I can make it make sense for myself, and you know, here I am trying to do it for whoever else might listen, but it's been difficult for years now because everyone has different ideas about things. And so I'm not unusual though, that I just have this overall baseline of like, it's good though, the world's good, God is good type of thing, real simple. And yeah, again, that doesn't work for a lot of the people that I've recently surrounded myself with, but in other circles and in other, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, that feel the same way. They have a general sense that everything's going to be all right. And yeah, so I'm just, suggesting I'm not like alone in that. And that kind of foundational thinking, yeah, it does have me like looking at this new age and all this information that has been released and everyone's picked up and sharing with each other in different ways. And, I'm just trying to, I sit here and enjoy it at this point. I got swept away with the information myself in the beginning of this journey, but now I'm, you know, I'm less prone to do that. And I've fallen back into some of my old ways that I think speak more to just myself. Along this journey I keep talking about, just like the last 7 years or so, where I really started doing, operating and thinking differently. Um, I have picked up, yeah, where was I going with this point? Picked up some really good things. Um, some things though, along the way, as much as anything, learning and wading through the new information that was suggesting there was better ways to live and think and be healthy and whatnot. I've been doing this, know thyself, learning about myself, trying to really understand who I am and what makes, how and why I tick. And some of that part of this learning and has made me realize I should just stick to what I've always been doing. I'm 37 years old, like for 30 years you were doing something certain ways, and that was fine. That was working just fine. If it ain't broke, why fix it type of thing. And then this new floodgate, released, and all this information came pouring in, and I started trying to adapt to the information and change ways. And now like I think I made my point. And now I'm just, yeah, trying to find the balance is a good way to say it. Try to find the balance of the old and the new. And so the flood of information that came through, that is becoming what you could say is the new age, is now like my, something I'm just constantly mulling over, trying to make sense of how and why it's come to be this way, where, arguably there's just all these topics at hand that are pretty mainstream at this point that you could suggest just simply weren't on anyone's radar 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, definitely. And so this is just a major, major point. There's these points that I'll say out loud, and then like I'm gonna let it be known. Like I put a lot of emphasis and a lot of weight on this. Like this is a foundational thought that I go back to make sense of other things. And so the idea that, you know, most of this new age information was never even talked about by anyone before the internet. And now, certain ideas are totally changing people's lives, and they're radically living differently, and they might be so encompassing, like that's all they talk about, that's all they think about, that's all they want everyone else to know about. And um, you know, their entire lives are revolving around some of the new age ideas. And I'm gonna stop saying new age ideas and go into like I'll rattle some off here in a second, but just it's like, can you remember, life before this? And everyone can, but the point is, yeah, another thing I point at, and I have for a long time on Instagram, is how things are not as organic as they're presented as far as information flooding into culture through media and books and education and just influences in culture, pop culture, so often, almost always, in my opinion, new ideas, trends, things that really change the culture, like technology, like the internet, like social media, they, know, they subliminally come in first, these ideas in little bits and pieces, like spoonful of sugar, or like type of idea, a little at a time, and then all of a sudden you're ready to take on the entire pill, um, that maybe you weren't realizing you were slowly swallowing and getting ready for, getting conditioned for. Whatever we want to talk about, I think I can suggest that's going on, and for major culture changing things. Um, so like NASA is this big space agency that came in halfway through the last century, and it brought in all this new information that then brought in all this new, imagery and ways to view the world and space and all this stuff. But the point is, like before NASA, there was a time 20, 30 years before NASA that, like I'm suggesting, it was the time before you could even fathom the ideas that NASA brought in. People were just living completely differently and not even thinking about that kind of stuff. And maybe 20, 30, 40 years, I mean, arguably there's, people are going to suggest different things about space and Galileo and the stars and all that, but it's like when right up until before the NASA era and beyond, incrementally ideas were popping in, And it could have been from the newspaper writing something about a scientific discovery. Could have been from a book writer that wrote a story and about the future and brought in the topic of aliens or what have you. Like, this might be, I'm not doing a good job here, but these little concepts start showing up. And the average Joe, the guy just living life, he catches wind of it little by little. Maybe the talk, late night show makes jokes, about people that believe in aliens or think that, and so you get enough of it, and then all of a sudden NASA comes and it's official, this new egregore. An egregore is a term I like to use. It's just like a massive thought bubble that lots of people buy into and believe to be true, to be a fact, just be the only way almost. And so then NASA becomes an egregore, and from then on they are dictating and talking about space and all this information and whatnot. And the whole point was incrementally they got us ready for that. They did the same thing with the internet or cell phones, social media. It wasn't just one thing all of a sudden that's here. It's MySpace and the early days of Facebook and these little concepts that got people on board. That then, I was just thinking about the Facebook thing, how, again, like subliminally, they're letting us know how I made a post about the Shrek movie coming out before a Facebook ever launched. Yet in the movie, it was getting us ready for Facebook. There's all these little clues in there about Facebook. I did a whole breakdown. I wasn't the only one that suggested that, about how it's like the movie predicted this arrival of this huge culture changing thing. And again, lots of examples of this. And so I'm gonna, that concept about these culture changing egregores, or I'd like to now carry over to the new age and suggesting there's these new age egregores that lots of people are going to start pointing to and buying into and sharing. They already are, but they're going to just get stronger and stronger, these egregores. And I myself adhere to some of them. Some of them I like a lot better than the old ones that we were given and operating off of. And like I said, the start of my journey 7 years ago was getting rid of the old ones, a lot of them, and adopting new ones. And then again, now I'm balancing it all out and trying to really understand my values and how I see things. And so, or I have done that. Now I'm trying to explain it, I guess, kind of explain myself and talk it all out. What I've been trying to do for a couple of years now, because there's so many things to pull from. What makes me different than just the average person that's just like, the world is fine and God is good, and then you just kind of start living out your day, is I understand the other side. Davio, who I've talked to, people that will point to that, and I'm not saying he would, but I know other people point to people that kind of live that way, and they say they're stuck in the matrix. They don't see all these things, the Illuminati and resets and the depopulation agenda and the New World Order and all the agendas ahead and all the esoteric knowledge of the past and what it all means, and the royal bloodlines and how much control they have. Well, my whole thing is I'm here to say I've investigated all of these subjects. I've tried to get the best information on all of them, and I have come to the conclusion they're rabbit holes that personally, they changed my life, understanding them better, but now I can move forward, is basically it. Like, there is nothing more there for me. And I kind of feel that a lot of people could probably agree, or they should agree, they don't know it yet, something like that. So, I don't want to tell people what to do, and I don't want to, come across like I have all the answers, but I just know where I'm at in my life. And so somehow I get this role of, because I already, started trying to explain things back in the day on Instagram and all that. I'm like, kind of got a taste for it, like getting reactions people liked when I put my ideas out there, things like that. So I've been tinkering with it ever since, but I'm also, doing another huge big transit change where I'm not just gonna do the fear mongering truther stuff that I was doing, which helps you release the old egregores. I'm, doing it a different way at least, or just being very reserved about it because I don't want to just hand people the new egregores, the new age belief systems as a replacement to saying get rid of the old, which I can help you see why we want to get rid of the old. We're not holding water anymore. But now I'm reluctant to give the new because I'm saying, and I was talking to Davio about this, all these new ones are given to us by the system or something, and it makes me wonder now. And so, as like a reference to what I'm talking about, because I know it's not for everyone, can't picture some of the things I can picture. Like there's this poster that came, I don't know where from, out of nowhere, all these years ago. And it said like the Great Awakening or something on it. And it had hundreds of different little bullet points and concepts. It was like a diagram that connected, but it was just so complex. Take you a long time to read it all. Anyone that did read it all and take the time wouldn't know possibly all the subjects that were being talked about on this poster. Just completely full of words. But it said the Great Awakening. It was talking about a lot of this new age theory stuff that I'm talking, I'm suggesting here. And, I don't know what was up with that, where that poster came from, but it knew already all these subjects that were gonna really be gobbled up by the internet and talked about in all different ways, which it has, and this continues to. Now, another thing that I see is there's some creators that are writing books, and the books again are like bullet points of these things, these egregores that you should believe in. Basically, the one book on my mind is called The Revival of Wisdom. And it's just like, this perfectly page for page book of everything that I have seen on Instagram here for years. All these ideas that are being promoted that are supposedly better than the old ones. But the problem I have is there's so many things being talked about, and I've tried to kind of keep tabs on it all, that it shouldn't be a package deal. We're too diverse humans, and like, we naturally we all kind of tend to get focused on this over this. Like we like what we like. And so I feel like that should be the case more as so much, this great awakening does happen and people are taking on new concepts and letting go of old ones. But the problem I have is that there keeps being a package deal of ideas that certain groups and content creators, influencers kind of sell all together. And if they're, this package, there's different styles. For example, like a new ager carnivore eater versus a new age, vegan. And yeah, it's a lot to tease out, but the revival of wisdom and a lot of the fun and best like teachers of like esoteric wisdom. Some of the subjects Davio and I hit on, like etymology and symbolism, decoding the symbolism of, you know, now and the past. And those types of people will, they'll generally share all the information that this Revival of Wisdom book covers. And it's like all about, you want to decalcify your pineal gland, you want to get your, energy flowing, your chakras open. So that's what I'm saying. These books are all saying you gotta go vegan. Basically, if you don't go vegan, you are, eating death, and you're not gonna be able to connect with God, and the world is gonna be fallen until we all figure out we all have to go vegan. I can't even like put too much weight on that. I mean, there's all kinds of other important stuff though. Like I'm saying, these books break down, and it's just like they're mind-blowing books of people that come across this information for the first time. I mean, if the right page hits you, it's like there's nothing you can do but be like, whoa, I've never looked at the same information the same way until now. And, especially this like decoding certain things that are like in plain sight, the realize kind of stuff. That kind of can be, yeah, a little mind-blowing for people the first time they come across it. And the Revival of Wisdom, of course, also paints, the Matrix. These books all talk about the Matrix, the 3D holographic universe that we live in. And then they'll talk about the soul trap or the reincarnation trap. We're talking about, you're just a drone to the Matrix until you start going vegan and you get the love, you don't kill anyone, and then you're going to have the true connection to the divine, and then you're going to be able to do whatever you want after death. Whereas when you don't have all those things going, basically you're just a dumb drone, and there's all this light in my background. When you die, you're going to get attracted to the light. Everyone says they see the light and all that at the end of, when they have near-death experiences. It's always described like this light, you're going to the light. And basically, the soul trap theory is basically the light is a big trick, feels all lovey-dovey. It's going to show you exactly what you want to see, but in reality, it's going to trick you. It's going to zap you like Men in Black. It's going to zap your memory, and then you're going to come back, and you're going to be born again as a baby with the memory wipe. And so then you're back on Earth and you get to start all over. And the soul trap theorists are all like, this is not the way. Something is very wrong. God wouldn't have made it this way. It's not fair. Yeah, let me just keep breaking down the things they say. Because this is what I've been going into per the request of Davio, looking at this information, stuff like that. So the soul trap theory stuff is like, they have looked into all these near-death experiences, all these out-of-body experiences, and they're coming to the conclusions. They're all very similar. Everyone says they see the light, and it's very euphoric when they're having these out-of-body experiences. And the soul trap theory spin this. I mean, they're combining all these things to say this, suggest all this, but they're saying like that kind of stuff is a trick because there's this premise, yeah, like this world's been hijacked. This holographic matrix or something shouldn't be there. They can't even really describe it. There's all kinds of different, again, theories already given to us, from the Truman Show to the Matrix movies to all this stuff. That's why I'm like, no one was talking about this 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They just started giving us all these little concepts to build this together. I mean, what I've been saying generally is there's a new religion forming in plain sight. The New World Order, ever since I was a kid, I knew it would be New World currency, a New World government, and New World religion. Like that's always been the Illuminati, New World Order, like, and so it's forming like the currency and the government, like the currency is this crypto tech, electric currency, electronic. And then you have the government, which is also going like internet control. Like people are getting banned left and right just for saying little things on the internet, and then they're getting a little ban. Like you can't do that for 2 days or whatever. It's been going on for years, but the internet is going to be the government of the future. And so meanwhile, there's a religion forming too. The religion is like the backbone of how people are going to be operating in the future. My problem is when the Revival of Wisdom book has all this cool information, it's also attached to the soul trap conversation. Things are not right, they're suggesting. You got to do this stuff to do better, to get out. It's very similar to other religions. The premise is fear-based. I say this and they deny it, and they're like, no, it's not fear-based. We're claiming sovereignty. When we get to the light, we're going to claim our sovereignty and we're not going to listen. And, they have, I don't know, plans or something after death. It's crazy to me, like, because I believe you came here to live life. You came here for the present. The present is the gift. The past is for momentary glances. Don't stay in the past. The future is to have an aim for something, but it's like you got to enjoy the present. And so just crazy. There's this whole, but I mean, it's not crazy because in a way, Christianity is the same thing. Like you're doing all this stuff in life to get to heaven and avoid hell. So for this new system to be forming and people to be buying into it, it's actually not crazy. But I'm claiming it's the foundation of it all is fear-based. You think the world is wrong. You think that there's a trap going on and it's against your will. All of our, and then because of that, you start nitpicking, the world's like, there's so much suffering and all this, terrible stuff. I'm going to pinpoint, I'm going to question you. Like, how do you think, why is this here? Do you think God would make it that way? And all this stuff that people have been asking forever, the human condition, like contemplating this stuff. And anyways, I play ball. I'll talk about it all, and I do, but I get worn out. And it's not like I haven't been here before, is what I was saying. I took on all this soul trap stuff years ago, and I, bought into it. It sucked. It sucks. It's half glass empty, like I was saying in the one Zoom. Like I don't need it. I don't need to question it. And I mean, okay, keep talking about a lot of theorists, the soul trap theorists are like claiming, no one, the people taking my stance are all ignorant and they're not willing to look at it and see it for what it really is. And, I'm trying to say, no, I did look at it. I do look at it. It's just, I see an agenda to all this. I see how good people, just like you and me, could promote and peddle and want to talk about the conversation like soul trap theory and be convicted there. It's something we need to talk about. It's a really big problem here on Earth. And yet they never stop and recognize, literally they would not be talking about this concept had it not been given to them. And it was given, I mean, they're not organic ideas. That's what they want you to believe. They tell you like, well, we listen to this group over at the University of Virginia, or this Dr. Moody guy, and he's gone into hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these near-death experiences, and he's pulled this information, and we just objectively listened to it all, and this is what they keep saying, or there's other people too, and other ways that they're suggesting basically, what they're suggesting is these near-death experiences are a glimpse of what is happening. And by analyzing all these examples, the glimpses, that's a big part of them forming the idea. It's a trap. You see, what's happening is you think you're going to die, and the white light's here, and then they show you the people you love the most, someone in your family, someone that's been missing or already passed in your life, or they show you Jesus, they show you Buddha, they show you the God you believe in, they show you God as you have thought he might exist. Like, they show you exactly what you want to see, and then they ask you about your life, and you kind of do like a life review, and you go through your life, and they ask you this and that, and you kind of come to the conclusion you didn't exactly do everything you wanted to do in your life. Therefore, it would be smart for you to go back to Earth and experience it some more, to do the things that you didn't get to do. And so then, okay, mind you, these are near-death experiences. They're not the real death. They're these little glimpses. These theorists are pulling so much from them. They're creating this whole negative religion, in my opinion, from this stuff. It ties in to the other parts that aren't negative. But anyways, this aspect is for me. And the glimpses are like, they're nothing. I mean, they're not. But okay, what they're saying then from that point is like they got you on the hook. They're like, you didn't do everything you wanted to do. Remember, you died, you're fighting with so and so, your sibling, like you didn't patch that relationship up. Like, why don't you guys both go back and do it again and do better the next time? And so the theorists are then saying, people, that's what's happening. We are reincarnating. There's all this proof of past lives. And the problem is you reincarnate as a baby with a blank slate. So all the karmic stuff or whatever you're trying to do better the next time, you can't remember. So that's wrong. So that means they're doing something's wrong. That's basically the logic they've come to. And now it's like, something's wrong. We're being born without memories, and yet we have past lives. Therefore, it's a 3D holographic matrix, and there's reptilian overlords and aliens or whatever that are tricking us to come back here, and we're just working for them, and they're looshing our energy. And that is Earth, and it's been like this for a long time. You're not gonna believe this, but thousands and thousands and beyond comprehension, we've been in this trap, just continuously reincarnating, and we're just naive, and we forgot, and we can't do better until now, because we're having the conversations now. We're doing the hard work by talking about this now on the internet with our little cameras and YouTube channels. And now, because we're going to talk about it, we're going to have a game plan. When we go die and we see the white light, we're going to fend off the guys that trick us to go back to Earth, and we're going to go do something else. And we're going to be sovereign. We have claimed our sovereignty. We did it. All you silly sheep out here that don't get any of this, you're just ignorant, and I feel sorry for you. That's literally like how a couple of the people I heard talking about this stuff came across. I mean, not everyone, they would say I put words in their mouth, or that's not how they come across. I was being sarcastic with some of it. They, a couple of the people I listen to are very polite, and they try and respectfully bring this information, but they still have this bias, this agenda that they don't know is their agenda. The agenda came from somewhere, whoever's forming the religion of tomorrow. And it's like, it's it's a huge red flag. This whole soul trap conversation is not organic. They're making it seem organic because that's what they do. That was my NASA analogy. They're making you pull from, this bit of science over here and this guy's work over here and over here. And it's like, we're just doing, we're just putting all this together and realizing you're getting your memory zapped and it shouldn't be this way. But they're not. Someone else is doing that and presenting the information. Again, it's in these books. This stuff has been planned for us to be talking about and eventually generations tomorrow to really believe in. I mean, the Matrix movies, I'm going to be breaking those down a little bit. I got a plan to talk about the Matrix movie and another movie, Cloud Atlas. And anyways, I don't mind. It takes a lot out of me in bursts. I can talk about all this stuff because, someone should, but, I'm always got to pull it back. But let's see it for what it is. How do I end this Zoom? Some foundational thoughts of where I'm at. Like this world, the alpha and the omega, beginning and end, it's the never ending story. And so at all times, it is what it is. And it's what it is a perfect creation. It's how it's always been designed. I can't go into too much actually before this Zoom is about to be over. Let me think for a second. If there's anything else. Well, I never covered what I was probably supposed to start this one by myself with because it would have been flowing into from the past one with Davio. One of the bits he was bringing to the table, which is again a bit that a soul trap theorist then uses to explain the soul trap theory, is some studies done with blind people, I think at the University of Virginia. And they did I think they had 31 blind people who all had near-death experiences, or some also had out-of-body experiences. But the amazing thing was, in a nutshell, that blind people who were blind from birth, so they never were able to experience sight like I know it, and people that can see know it. They were able to have out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences and see things that only a person with sight would see in life. So then, being blind, they would describe or answer questions and reveal things to these people that they've never seen in life before. That is the premise of, or that's what the studies were showing, and then over the theorists are saying what that's showing is were tapping into visions from past lives. So helps kind of point to the concept of reincarnation being, real and completely provable, or there's a lot of good evidence in something like this. How does the blind man know what anything looks like if he's always been blind? Unless he was able to tap into a past life or something when he has sight to then be able to describe things. The fact of the matter is, I don't think there's no matter how you spin it, there's a clear answer what's going on there. And, one of the guys on this Forever Consciousness channel, which is a Soul Trap Theory channel, was saying he wasn't the main guy, but one of his guests was like, I know who I was in a past life. I was so and so, and I did this, this, and this. And he said these things to the main host of this Soul Trap Theory page, and the host kind of let him say it and didn't question it too much, and they carried on to the next thing. It's like there's no one that can stop and question that. It's just the guy saying, I know who I was in past life. I was Joe Smith and I was doing this down by the river, and I died because a buffalo ran me over. And it's like, okay, if that's what you're telling me. Obviously you see the point, like no one can ever verify that, ever. And 1,000 people can make claims like that. I was so and so, and I did this, and that was my past life, or the people that know how to go into the astral do it for you. You can do that all day long, sure. But again, what I was getting at, I think, is like I don't see how you not seeing there's no way to verify like if it's true or not. You just have people doing that, suggesting these things. I don't know how the blind man got the visions and was able to describe them. I know the mind's super complex and crazy, and a near-death experience that exposes a person to like this fuzzy, warm, euphoric, lovey feeling that they love, and it's like nothing they've ever uh, felt before. It's hard to describe. That sounds awfully similar to like people's explanations of being on certain drugs, and they're tripping or hallucinating, and they're feeling these amazing feelings they've never felt before, and they're seeing love, or they're seeing God, or they're seeing. It's like those are very similar ideas. There's something happening chemically in the brain, and that's why you're feeling or seeing seeing whatever you're seeing. I don't know, but it is a similarity, those two things. Again, but the soul trap theory people are clamoring on to this idea that that's a bad thing. They're tricking you with the fuzzy euphoria feeling to then get you back on Earth. Okay, where's another thought I was having? The idea of the blind people. So like something that soul trap theory brings to the table also that is a red flag for me, and I see otherwise, is like it's a clearly us versus them scenario. So it's something all religion kind of creates, like a believer versus a non-believer, Christ versus the devil, like kind of thing. The soul trap is clearly like there's us humans that are stuck versus whoever's doing it to us that we have to get past. And that's completely at odds with the law of one. Everything being interconnected, everything being everything. Um, if if you don't understand that concept, it's never been broken down to you. I don't know. There's a few different ways you go about it, but it's the idea everything is connected. I'm a reflection of you, you're a reflection of me. We all are the same. We're all droplets in an ocean that is life, the physical matter of all things as we know it. And dust to dust, when you die, you become the elements, and the elements get carried off into the next thing. And everything is everything, all is one. And the soul trap theory doesn't allow for that. There's clearly something that's not part of the love, because they're tricking us, and so they're not us, so anyways, what's my point? All is one, the law of one, that doesn't exist in the soul trap theory people's viewpoint. But if it did, you could look at the blind person as like he's tapping into the all and getting the visions from somewhere. And that's like, again, not my concept. That idea is everywhere in many places where you can like tap into the ether to pull ideas, or, the sun or whatever, like the, what's that, the Akashic records we talked about, or the astral, or all these ideas all around us. And maybe the blind person in their near-death experience tapped into that somehow. It wasn't that they tapped into this specific person's life that was their life from the past. Again, I don't even, I'm not debunking reincarnation or past lives. If that's going on of some sort, I don't care. I'm of the theory everything's fine. So it's going on for whatever reason it's going on for. Again, I'm in the present. I don't understand truly why I have to overthink these things or think about why it's going on. But the other point though is like this concept of when someone can see through someone else's eyes. So they're like, seeing through the eyes of something else. That idea is portrayed a lot in like stories and, television and stuff. And so I just argue that's another possibility with the blind person seeing in this altered state. They call it time between life between lives is another. There's forever consciousness. Life between lives is a group that studies these near-death and out-of-body experiences, and they call it life between lives. So, and then they're like innocently putting all this information together, life between lives. You wouldn't suggest they're saying anything to do with soul trap theory. But then the people on the internet that are saying something about soul trap theory, they're writing entire books about it, the Revival of Wisdom book. They are using the life between lives information to back up their theory that is fear-based, that I suggest. And so again, the point is how this thing is formulating for the future, because the more people that talk about it and the more it's going to grow, it seems like it's being pulled from different places. It is, but it's a plan. That's how they do it. I mean, it's how they do it. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to talk for the full time that I was doing with Davio. It's obviously easier when he was here and we could bounce back and forth, and I could take some breaks. So, arguably, you know, I got in a little trouble, I'm sure, because I said that all the soul trap theory stuff is like having your mind in the gutter to like contemplate and try and break down and learn more. Like there's a huge community of people that's basically discovered that kind of thing, and then it's like life as they used to know it doesn't matter anymore. Something's terribly wrong with life. You're you're being tricked. It's crazy. You're being tricked. Everyone you know is being tricked. They don't know. It's a disaster. We're all here suffering and feeling pain, and all at the expense of these overlords that are tricking us and zapping our memory, forcing us to be alive in these meat suits. I mean, once you start playing in this part of the internet, you start to devalue life. It's just a slippery slope. And like every time I said that, it was like, no, 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 no. We're just aware now, and yet we're going sovereign and we're being healthier than ever. And again, we're gonna have a plan when we die, how not to get trapped back here again. And but yeah, arguably like you change your life over this kind of thing. Maybe you lose some ambition or what have you, right? Like, I don't know, everyone's gonna, that's one little thing that could kill a person's drive going on right now in these complicated times. There's a bunch of different rabbit holes where you learn enough about it and then you're gonna be like, why am I doing things how I've been doing things? I know that firsthand. I mean, like I keep saying, I drastically changed my life over the rabbit holes. But it's like I had an ego death of sorts of the first time, and then I started living this new life, building a new life. But recently it's like a new one of like, okay, now scrutinize the information you just built up that was replacing the old egregores that's supposed to be better. And now that I've scrutinized it, I've come to find these patterns of the information was given to me. It's a package deal someone's giving me, giving all of us. What's to be done about it? Here's a dilemma in it all. You know, part of the package deal is flat Earth. I didn't mention flat Earth in the Revival of Wisdom book. It's like veganism, decalcify your pineal gland, clean yourself out, your chakras, soul trap theory, and then yeah, flat Earth is definitely part of the package. It's pointing to the NASA lies, trickery, and giving us this new model of how the Earth exists, a flat plane, and it's not heliocentric. The sun and moon revolve around us. We're kind of the center of the universe, you could say. It's part of the thinking of the new age and teaching people how to manifest. That's another package part of it, is the manifesting aspect and the astrology aspect, which we talked about in one of the talks we had. So, okay, so of that list I just talked about, I could talk about all of them, the pineal gland and the veganism and all that. Like, so those ones and the soul trap theory, I'm kind of like out to debunk, but I do adhere to flat Earth theory more than globe theory, that I'm on a spinning globe going 1,000 miles an hour right now, and all the lies that come with that. I am quick to debunk that, and I have, and we all have. And so I have adhered to the flat Earth concepts making more sense. But I am cognizant that I'm suggesting all this stuff was given to me. So same thing with the astrology. The Revival of Wisdom book is all about esoteric Christianity, or the symbolism behind all the Abrahamic religions, all religion, trying to suggest there's always been the symbolism behind it all, describing the same things about life, about the elements, about the polarity of life, stuff like that. And yeah, that stuff is, again, I keep saying, very interesting. I don't have any qualms with it. It seems real enough. There's oftentimes things coded into stories and religions and movies, and that's what I've done on Instagram for a long time, trying to decode things, suggesting, look at this hidden meaning behind this thing in plain sight. So it's like some of the stuff in the new age packaging, clearly I'm at odds with, and some of it I'm not. Yeah, I'll admit, I guess that's something I'm still trying to make sense of. I don't have any hesitation that like I'm on the wrong side of the globe stuff. I don't have any hesitation that I'm on the wrong side of the soul trap theory. Don't have any hesitation about the veganism stuff. That's an agenda. These ideas people are buying into, but you want to send me a vegan debate, like I'll glad not gladly have it. It sounds like miserable, but I would talk, you know, I would talk my way out of why I don't believe it's changing anything. Veganism, living in the woods the last 4 years and seeing nature, how, up close and personal is a great way to debunk veganism. Um, I mean, all ideas about how our energy is being controlled and loosed. Go live in the woods. Just that gets thrown out the window. Your life every day you're waking up and living life, and it's not what the internet's suggesting it is, that you're a slave to this reality that you don't even want to be here. Like, again, my premise is exactly the opposite. Life is a present. You absolutely want to be here. You came here to experience this life. And if you don't feel that way, then maybe something's wrong. Then yeah, the world is bad. Something's wrong. It's you though. You're being bad. You have the choice to think differently. That's what I keep saying. It's a choice. Like, there's a reason behind all the corniness and the power of positivity and the self-help type of agendas to make a person not focus on the negative or focus on things that aren't helping their life, the quality of their life. And so how my mind works, if I was to say, yeah, get your mind out of the gutter, I'm quickly jumping to this conclusion that, yeah, like that subject, that's leading to the things you want in life. Like, you came here to live life. Oh, you are not on that page at the moment. You're on the page. You came here to, this is your how many times you hear this? You're gonna hear this. This is my last incarnation here on earth. I'm never coming back. It's been said already a million times on the internet. People just saying something because it's a program they've been given to think and talk like that. Last incarnation here on earth. And then it's like, so, okay. Yeah. I already kind of talked that out. The idea that, well, they're like, but I'm not wasting this life. I'm still gonna make the best of it. I just don't get it. But you have this a fear-based foundation that yet when you die, you're gonna make sure and not get tricked into coming back. Anyways, the point throughout all is like how it's all packaged together. I just thought of another subject that could go into let's package in with it all. Um, well, the veganism flows into the health and wellness and the organic and avoiding the GMOs and the seedless fruits and things of that nature. Um, Again, a lot to be said. Um, and I've come a long way on it. Like, I moved here, there's a farm and a greenhouse over there to live organically and avoid all these bad ingredients and things that were destroying my way of life, as I believed a couple of years ago, but now I don't believe that anymore. The guy literally did it. I'm like living the life that the internet is suggesting is the future to like survive, to get out of the matrix. And it's like That's a way of thinking. And yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going back to like where I was 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I was not uber focused on reading all the packaging, all the ingredients of everything and making all these food conscious decisions, lifestyle decisions to avoid ingredients or Wi-Fi or radiation, or bad water, fluoride, etc. Like, I guess I have a few more minutes to talk out this concept that about how this new age works. All right. So what I'm getting at is part of the new age packaging is health and wellness, obviously. So if you're not improving your lifestyle, you're not getting it. You're stuck in the matrix and you're not doing something about it all. So that's how they kind of slide in there. Like, you better start eating better, exercising, whatever you're gonna get into, cold baths, ice showers, ice baths, um, cold showers, light therapy, deprivation tanks, whatever, acupuncture, Reiki, all kinds of things, getting your Kundalini right. And yeah, it's ties into each other. Some people don't adhere to it all. I appreciate those people. People that talk about it all, like it all has to be talked about. I like them. You fell for an agenda. Um, the pineal gland concept, I'm totally at odds with. There is nothing there. People don't know when their pineal gland is calcified. They don't know when it's decalcified. There's no way to prove it. Everyone's just talking the talk because that's the talk they were given. You're not better than the next person because you care about decalcifying your pineal gland or not. There's no barometer for any of it. So unfortunately, that flows into all the health and wellness stuff too. You're eating organic, you're not eating organic, you're eating meat, you're not eating meat. Um, we were, so I'm gonna try and explain this. This concept that the world is sick and we live in this very sick culture. Too many hospitals, big pharma is very nefarious, out to get us, like keep us sick, perpetually sick. That popped up and is widely accepted because of COVID. Had COVID not happened, you couldn't have sold that egregore that the world is sick to everyone. Some people you could have sold it to that were hyper, they were fixated on these topics of what's in the ingredients, why people are getting sick, et cetera, et cetera. Where's the money go? And, big pharma, and, the agendas behind it, the politics behind it. But not everyone was keeping tabs on that. Arguably, the majority were not keeping tabs on that. So then COVID happened, and that conversation got amplified, and now everyone is aware of it and has heard about how bad, the idea of big pharma being evil. And it's an egregore that's now accepted. It replaced the old one. People used to think modern healthcare was better than ever and saving lives. And they had a lot of good things to say about it. And then they just kind of flipped the narrative and now we go with it. So that has to do with like me and talking about I'm going backwards. I was never sick. If the culture was sick, if this is a sick world, I personally was a healthy person within it. I got sick like everyone else. I got a flu or a cold. When I was younger, I got the chicken pox. Um, you know, I had a couple, things big. I broke a leg at one point. I got strep throat, like a couple things bigger than the average flu or cold, but I always bounced back, went right back to life and nice energy levels and whatnot. I'm trying to, I don't want to explain what I learned now. Back then though, there was no indicator that I was sick, right? It wasn't even a thought. Um, the obesity factor that plays into life, and it was like pretty obvious. People were, generally of guy I grew up, we were all had the similar body weight generally that we always had. Then we hit the college era, people started drinking, partying, putting on weight, lifestyles got created as adults. No one's there to tell you what to do, to go to gym class, to run the mile, blah, blah, blah. And, the lifestyles predict, you know, kind of obesity, weight stuff. And so just like it was there, the information, enough information was already there, what you might want to do to be healthy or not healthy in life. And so what I'm saying is then COVID comes and even better information shows up, quote unquote, because it's this information's changing everything, everyone, how they're living and all these things. Again, it's a fear-based foundation in the name of we live in a very, very sick culture where everyone has cancers and problems and this big vaccine culture. And yeah, those are good things to talk about, and they are part of the problem, but there's more going on than just that. And arguably, depending on how you go about figuring this all out in your own life amidst this world, the world of illusions, you may or may not need to be taking drastic changes in anything to still be healthy. And so that is a huge topic. It's a huge conversation. For certain people I listen to kind of have influenced me. They think kind of similarly. And then there's many, many people that are out there selling and telling you black and white things about what you need to be doing to be avoiding the sick culture and to be quote unquote healthy and decalcifying your pineal gland and on your way to higher consciousness and better energy, higher vibrations, all that good fun that we say nowadays. So I don't know. The yeah, I don't want to jump around too many subjects. Um yeah, so I mean I understand the concepts, the values of growing your own food, um, avoiding these chemicals and ingredients and things added into the food. We can't even say the words, so foreign and crazy and unneeded. Mm, And, I worked for High Vibe, a superfood juice bar in Chicago that, you know, very much is like the whole business was built around you got to have the best ingredients, you got to avoid the bad ones. The bad ones are no good for you, and the best ingredients are a little bit more expensive, but you know if you want to take life seriously, that's what you need to do now that we discovered the sick culture we live in. And so I worked for that place, and I saw the people that came in and spent the money, more money than most, on having fresh organic juice and food. And again, I went all the way out. I moved from Chicago, being a city person, buying everything, to try and go accomplish a lifestyle of homesteading, coming up, having fresh farm eggs and vegetables. And I've never got to meat. I never process any of my own meat, but I came here to do some of that, and I have, and nothing changed, I guess, is my testimony. Like, it's not, it's good, it's fun, you learn a lot, it's invaluable. But if I ate organic or non-organic, nothing changes for me. That's my testimony. That's what I've learned to be true in my life. And you can allow things to be change the more you think about them, the more, you dwell on stuff. You are what you eat. The more you believe you can't eat a non-organic carrot because it was grown with, some horrible chemical being sprayed on it, and it's just like, maybe you were introduced to that chemical 1,000 times before the new wave of information came and told you to be aware of that, and you survived and life was going on. But now that you're aware, someone pointed it out to you, you cannot, it's a black and white thing. Yeah, I don't touch that. I will not drink your water, God forbid I get a little fluoride into my system and it calcifies my pineal gland. And then I don't have a connection to God or something. Or I'm not enlightened anymore. I'm just another matrix drone. Anyways, that's enough of me. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.